Do you ever look at Glass, the sexy, hot black woman, and wonder, how did she look before? Well, today we're going to find out. Unless you're not going to watch this video at all. If you're not gonna watch this video, then go fuck yourself. Let's start from pre-alpha of 0. The beginning. The whole Misfitz arc. Well, it's dry as fuck. Character models are just beans with some placeholder cosmetics on them. The current character roster is consistent of Ray, Smog, Riff, Shell, Flamey, Blade, Strike, and Shade. But they're all lacking something in them. Let's move on to pre-alpha 1.
Nothing fucking changed.
They all look the same. Let's ignore that part and move on to pre-alpha 2. This time, it brings us something new. Surprising. And this time, it's actual 3D models for Rush, Ray, Gloss, and Shade. Let's see how we got these models in the first place. Starting with Rush. Rush always was supposed to be a dude on the rollerblades. Ironically enough, he used a gun in his early concepts. His second concept resembles Beat at some degree. The concept could have been reused for him at the later stages. His third concept was scrapped too. The fourth concept also looks like Ray, so I'm not surprised if it was a starting point for him too. At some point, Rush could have looked like Deadpool, or just have the Wolverine claws. I have a suspicion that someone was watching a certain movie and concepting that.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
He also could have been just a woman. But a hockey player on rollerblades? Sounds right as fuck. Now let's check out next concept. On this first concept, you can see that Rush has some bunny ears. They're actually supposed to be bug claws. You can actually see that he's all in bugs. And at least he has a protection for his knees. The gun actually looks like it spits out keys? Pretty similar to his current attack with shurikens. But without a gun and without keys. Yeah, no, I'm completely smoking crap. His face is completely different from Final 2. He has sucker lips and a bandana. Spells described him a human frog. I think he's just hiding the fact that he's bald with that hoodie and a bandana on. Moving on! He still has his hoodie on the second concept, but now the hoodie doesn't have bug claws on. Frankly, you can see that Rush completely abandoned his bugs. Bugs can die, but rollerblades will never die. His shoes were changed to be more cyberpunk, and he ditched his knee protection. His naked knees make him look like he pees in a pool. His hoodie still says "take off," which probably means what he did to his pants. Rush is also sadly brain damaged. He literally has a fucking knife in his head. But now you can see that the design more or less resembles the final one. Pants are still gone, and he's the green for an amazing reason. Thank God that Felsa decided not to keep that face. Looks awful. She's wore simplified hoodie too, and Rush finally got his shoulder bag. You can actually see that Rush has a stationary knife in his final concept for some reason. But it was later scrapped because, I don't know, not really suitable. But I wouldn't say that shurikens are really fitting too. But sure, who gives a shit? For the colors, it was debated whenever he should be yellow or green. At the end, he became orange. So nobody won. Next on the line, Shade. From the start, it's obvious that Shade is a sniper with her rifle, but the character designs are all over the place. First concept has tentacle hair, but it's much different from the final form. It's more or less resembling an Inkling from Splatoon. Second concept has a resemblance of Gloss. She's especially sexy. Great pair of tits, girl. This concept is the most out of place for me. She has some badass, and also uses a suitcase as a rifle. As a little fun fact, Shade was actually the first character to receive a 3D model. Two of her concepts actually received a model in the same build, but they actually never saw the day of life. Other concepts in this category also show how she could have used an umbrella, wow, Piper in disguise, and a guitar case as a rifle. This section of concepts are the most interesting out of mine. Next concept on the line is based on all of these concepts, but merged into one character. One of the main things that you can see in all of these concepts is that they all have a gun, not a rifle. From all of these concepts, I would say that the pink bitch could be an actual next Misfit. I even made a 3D model for her. As I mentioned before, this shade is made from all the previous concepts, merged into one character. Overalls from Green Gun Girl, hairstyle from Pink Bitch, and hair buns shaped like chain. But it doesn't mean that she's just consistent of old concepts. She has some new stuff too. She got a head with 3 pimples on it, and for some reason lack of fingers gloves, even though all the previous concepts had them. Shade's gun is basically a rectangle at this point, but it didn't cut it. Needed an overhaul. At some point, Shade looked completely different from what she came to be. She wasn't a hot goth mommy, sadly. She was more of a Harajuku with lots of cute side and just a sprinkle of darker side. But at the end, emo side has taken over and overhauled the cute part. Next concept is much closer to what we have now. Her squid side is developing and her tattoos are tattooing, although the teeth are terrifying. The hat is actually Shade, guys. The woman under it is a decoy. Come on, trust me. The final form has completely turned emo and has even more squids on it. The head has hidden its teeth, and Shade decided to hide her belly button with a swimsuit. But not to be completely slutty, the fishnets are here too. Shade's rifle has been transformed a little too. It's still a brick, but the charm has been replaced with a squid instead of a teddy bear. The handle has improved upon itself. It's actually possible to hold it. Addition of spiky tentacles around the gun is also important, so that Shade can use it as a dildo whenever she wants. Or she can use the whole gun as a dildo. The design hasn't been changed that much after this. Only thing that has been changed is removing Helix earrings and replacing ribbons on their stockings with X's, which has been reverting back with Shade's latest model, but that model sucks, so doesn't count. But the gun has gotten a significant update. It's not a brick anymore, but it lost its charm with lack of tentacles and a lack of face on the nozzle. At least you have a scope now.
All around me are familiar faces.
Next up on the road, Ray! Interesting enough, initially he was planned to be more of a dark-skinned character, but he still had his handgun. First concept looks like Garth Bell from Panty and Stocking with his square-shaped afro. Third concept is just, what if Shade and Glass had a baby? Fourth one is more of a Shade's baby with tentacle braids, but it certainly resembles Ray the most from all of these concepts. One of unnamed concepts show potential early design for Ray, but not being him fiery red, but being more acid electric. You can actually see that he has spiky hair and headphones. The most noticeable thing is not the green palette, it's the lack of shark teeth. His eyes are also hidden behind Shade. You know, Shade from Brawl Stars. I know, I'm so original. This concept shows that Ray has established his evil and fucked up side. The main difference between his final design and this one is his eyebrows. His whole outfit is actually light bulbs. Similarly to Shade, Ray also has glasses on, but very much different from previous concepts. I think Shade stole his earrings later on. The most noticeable thing that you can see is that he has a fur jacket, not a shirt. What a slut. Even strippers will be jealous of him. Weapon appears to have a battery instead of a mag. The end of the nozzle also has a face. Moving on. Most notable thing to see is that Ray's left arm is actually a prosthetic arm. It's a gun even, instead of a handgun. Yeah, I know, there's a difference between that. And he's still a fucking slut without a shirt on. Now this is Ray. Well, almost. Still with his birthing bones showing up. but the colors have been completely reworked. You can also see that we went back to handgun instead of a prosthetic arm. Hashtag no representation. At least he dished his panties with that on. Or he tucked them away, I don't know. Let's compare the gun to the previous handgun instead of an arm gun. The battery mag has been replaced with a handle. The best thing about it is the face still remains. On the finalized design you can actually see that apart from the belt, nothing else has been changed. The gun has received the update as big as the character design. Basically, none. Let's talk about glass. My black slut that I love. I love women, but I love that anymore. Sorry, women. Sadly, glass doesn't have much concepts. Hold up. Remember how I mentioned that second shade concept looks like glass? Second concept has a resemblance of glass. It was it seems. It is a concept for glass too. She was actually the second 3D model made of shade, but sadly that 3D model is now lost media. This is the only footage of her. This concept is really a late stage one. Glass was supposed to be walking a miniskirt with high heels on. She obviously still has high heels on, but miniskirt is much sluttier. Glass has retained a lot of accessories from previous concepts too, but I don't think that her thong should have been gold beads too. I guess feel of beads rubbing against your pussy is good? But yeah, the most noticeable thing about this concept is that she doesn't have any pants on. The socks are kind of making it look like she has more clothes on, but she doesn't. She's a slut. Comparing weapons with each other, you can actually see that she went from a rifle to a handgun. Handgun with lipstick enough for one blowjob. Basically no blowjob at all. The final glass has become poor. She sold her gold, and she sold her bead panties. But at least she got some pants. And actual panties too. But they're not made from gold. She also did some manicure to claw onto enemies. Or onto dicks. Glass overall became more lovely. Literally. Hearts on pants, heart-shaped ribbons, heart bag, hearts on bracelets. She had to get heart surgery, and because of it, she also got a breast reduction. So to mourn loss of her titties, she made herself full of hearts. Heartbreaking. The weapon has become more sapphire and green. More importantly, she got more lipstick for it, which can last for 3 blowjobs. Now this is what you call an improvement. We Alpha 3 came and gave us a model for Beats. Beat is actually also show. His gameplay has been worked like a million times, but his design always remained as a big guy, round like a bowling ball. One of Rush's concepts have Beats look alike. Instead of a big speaker, he has 2 handguns and really funky eyebrows. Too bad that he shaved them. Next concept is really brutal. Spiky jackets, face mask hats, spiky shoes, a huge gun with multiple nozzles, canister of acid. If the weapon has spitted out acid, it would probably work like drips attack. Getting closer to finalizing, we can actually see that instead of a chemical weapon, we have, or at least what appears to be, a rocket launch speaker. Beat still looks evil as hell. His bald hat has literal horns on it. And he's bald. Everyone knows that bald people are evil. And tattoos are even more evil. Now he turned a little goth punk. Still has his tattoos, but it's now a sleeve instead of finger tattoos. Got himself a jacket and hair transplants. But he only had enough money for bronze, so he had to cover his head with a cap and a bandana. Weapon also has been changed, but it looks more like a diarrhea coming from the sides. I don't know what else it could have been. The final design is a mix of 2 previous ones. Colors from the first one and the rest from the second one. Except for a weapon. The tattoos are now gone. B definitely looks more kind on the inside instead of wanting to melt your face with acid. Beat would be the only character to receive a 3D model in pre-alpha 3, and he also got disabled for 99% of a playtest. Pre-alpha has updated Drip's model to become an actual model. Sadly, there is close to zero concept for drip as a whole. We can only assume that prosthetic arms from old concepts were in consideration later for making drip. One of the main concepts show a dude with color palette similar to Drip's and an arm gun. Might as well be an early inspiration for Drip. But the main difference is that he's not a robot, and he has cool shades. I want these shades. Next to him, you can see that we have an evil white child with jetpack and gender overalls. But these concepts were probably just for Rush, Earth, and Drip. As a little fun fact, Blamey and Drip is actually the same character, but I think it's obvious from gameplay already, so in PA0-PA5, we can expect the remodels for Ray, Shade, and Rush. They fucking suck balls. I'd rather kill myself than see them on daily occasion, and I'm not sorry for that. So, as a treat, let's also explore my own models. My current roster is made of Rush, Glass, and Shade. So yeah, we won't be comparing Ray to anyone today. Only thing that I can compare him to is a drug addict. No, sorry guys, I don't do drugs. I do cocaine. Could have also made more models, but I have free will. And my free will said no. Let's start with Glass. She was my first Misfitz model to make because I love her. And looking at the current model at the time made me rip my hair out. One of the main differences that you can note in all of my models is that the eyes and the mouth are actually 3D and not a flat texture. So the deformity of it can be played with a lot. Hair was the most difficult thing to get right. Making it in a T-pose would make the deformation of the hair be so fucked up, but at the end, changing the default pose to be like this, not like this, changed it, and it was perfect. I also made her tits big. Number 2 is Shade. She is big. But I think one of the main differences that you can see with recent new model and this one is that mine has bigger tits. I think one of the most painful parts to get in Shade's model is tattoos. They still look wobbly after all this time, but at least they're visible. I also have modified the design of the rifle significantly. I refreshed the nozzle and added tentacles back because Shade needs her dildos. Number 3 is Rush, my second Misfitz model. I struggled a lot with the face to make it more mature and drained. The dude who made new Rush model didn't care about it, made him look like a kid. The most annoying part was to make arms. Each section is a separate bone, but the main issue was the shoulder part. It was deforming like shit, but at the end, I always work it out. You might be wondering,
Where is Blade and rest of the pre-alpha characters?
they do not have any confirmed plans to come back, and they don't have any concepts. We can still explore other concepts to compensate for their death. One interesting concept is called Ting, really original name. It shows that he could transform into a mecha Hellboy and sucking from guns from his shoulders, or he could summon the mecha to fight for him. Either way, really rad. Next up is Misfitz called Heroin. No, not heroin that you inject into your veins. She has some resemblance to one of the Shade's concepts, again. But maybe she initially was supposed to be a separate character from Shade. She also has a German flag t-shirt because Sharky is from Germany. Trust me, it makes sense. Then we have Soldier. No, not Soldier from TF2. Yeah, no wonder why this is just a fucking concept. The rest of these concepts don't really have any name or officially linked to any characters. Number 1 is a girl with extremely short dress. She also could have been a melee by attacking with huge mechanical fists. I kinda want a girl with huge fists. Not to fist me, but to beat me to death. Number 2 has funky hair with a bullet on top, making the hair look like the explosion trail. This time, her dress is a little bit longer. Or it's just that her hips are not wide and sexy as number 1. I have no idea what the fuck her weapon is supposed to be, but she does appear to have a big spray bottle on her back. Doesn't give much guesses though. Number 3 has a smoke ball making her look to be more suitable for an assassin role. But her having a gun, I don't know, I'm not sure of this role. Frankly, I think that those concepts were initially made for heroine and then scrapped later. And then heroine would be used for Shade. Next up is Shade's and heroine's child. Yes, Misfitz' sex is real. The hat also looks like Shade's hat. One thing that is really funny to me is that the gun is not stylized at all, and it's just a regular Glock. No accessories, no nothing. Just a Glock. This girl decided to completely ditch being sexy. Attack appears to be a bat, and maybe a transparent DVD disc too. Chunky gloves are not as chunky to be a main attack though. If you gotta say, bleh, I wish that specific concept was real, in my comment section. Blades of Bells, not me. So go fuck yourselves. If you watched the full video when I was skipping to this moment, congratulations! You wasted your fucking time from your life on this useless information. You certainly wasted less time than me though. Now go follow my Twitter. Following my YouTube is useless.